You're listening to PDR Tool Talk, all about PDR stories, tools, and techniques.
For the thousands in attendance, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. Welcome, everybody. I'm here with Daniel Grom. We are missing John Hiley. John Hiley, we're actually doing this episode a little bit later, so it's way late for him on the East Coast. And Vince D'Alessandro is in Costa Rica, just chilling out, man, having some cocoa butter drinks or something. What's he saying?
Yep.
He's Loco Coco.
Anything with the umbrella in the glass is good.
Yeah. Oh, hey, wait, who's that, man? Oh, is that
we got a
Ian?
special guest.
Let's go, Cordle, right? Cordle.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm great.
Well,
thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being here, man. If you guys don't know who Ian is, he's the guy you want at your back. You're at a bar and someone to fight with you. This guy, why don't you play professional football? What happened there? Did you ruin your knee or something like that? This guy's impressive. When you stand next to this guy, he's huge, and he's kind of scary, but he's super nice.
Kind of scary. How tall are you?
Yeah. Piss him off. That's all I want to say.
If handsomeness scares you, bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, it does. Did you play football when you were in high school?
I did. I did play football, but had the opportunity graduating high school to start doing dents, and I took it and been doing it ever since.
Nobody offered you a pro contract, huh?
No, my grades were horrible. I was too into girls and cars and doing everything else to keep going in school. I was ready to be out.
Yeah. I before I was going to mention, in case anybody's wondering, why Daniel Grom sounds like he's talking in a tin can, is because his mic. He sounded like Max Headroom, so we had to like cut off his microphone. So
yeah, we had technical difficulties, so I went to my backup. Sorry. backup. So all right, man. So let's get cracking here. Ian, tell us a little about yourself, man. You did briefly why you got into PDR. You went straight from high school practically. And when you got into PDR.
Yeah.
Sure.
What year? When did you start? How old were you? What not?
Sure. It was 91, 92. And I was 17 and a half when I was introduced to that there was even something out there called paintless dent repair. And before I graduated high school, I had already been set up about 6 months before high school. I was set up with the understanding that I was going to start training techs through the state of California under the unions. So I was going to become one of the only technicians to ever be certified by the state to train journey level auto body tech. So it was a government grant that was given to an owner of a dealership, and he had me trained. And after I was trained, I still couldn't do it, and came back, and everybody, all the pressure, you better get going, you better do this, because I had to manufacture tools and gear up to sell the training classes and then train the guys. So it was a 40-hour class, and I trained about 240 techs by the time I was 19 and a half. And then after that was done, I came in one day after training all those guys and manufacturing tools and doing that to the door wouldn't open. The key wouldn't work in the door. So I called down to the dealership, and he said, "Hey, we're all done. I got my check from the state. It's all over. So here's a couple sets of tools. Take a couple sets of tools out of the shop, and you're on your own." So I've worked for a couple other places. Worked for Dent Pro and a couple other real small outfits. And then about 18 years ago, started Dent Solution, and never looked back.
Oh, congratulations.
So who trained you originally?
That's what I was going to say.
So it was a combination. One of the painters at the body shop from the dealership I was trained, which was over in Dublin, California, Ron, he had been trained the same class that Dent Pro had been trained at. So when he came back and he taught me. They sent me away to Missouri to this. I mean, it was so podunk in Springfield, Missouri. It was so podunk. They sent me to this little barn. These two guys, these two Okies from Muskogee, had tools that they had made themselves out of spring rods from trunk openings and all kinds of stuff. And these guys thought that they were going to train me, and that didn't work out. But the owner of the dealership had paid for this because at the time there really was no classes to train guys, and the money they wanted was $50,000-$60,000 with a disclosure saying that they didn't guarantee you'd even learn it. So a combination of that, and then having Ron there at the body shop, which was the manager of the shop there at the dealership I was at, already being trained, and he could do it. He just kind of watched over me for that 6 months that I practiced in a little tin shed behind a dealership until I could proficiently knock a dent into an open panel, whether it was on a door or on a hood, and take it out in 5 minutes. So I had it down. I'd go in, I'd knock a dent in front of 20 journeyman bodymen at different body shops giving demonstrations. And then, put the tool behind my back and, take the dent out for them and stuff, or, I'd show them real quick how to do it and make a dent perfect. Of course, I had, practiced that one dent on that one panel to take it out in, less than 5 minutes, perfect for them. And that's how we would sell our classes, and then guys would sign up from there. So I learned a lot from that, but I really learned a lot from the guys that were 30, 40-year journeymen that would come in. And even though 1 week just isn't enough, to learn from an 18-year-old trying to teach you, paintless dent repair, but they would teach me different things like polishing, different types of metal finishing and stuff like that during the class while I'm supposed to be teaching them. And then they'd go back and they were supposed to train on the job for 40 hours and disclose and write down all their numbers for those 40 hours. And then the state would reimburse them the money they put for the class. So none of these guys, maybe 10 of them out of 240 guys actually continue doing it. But I can't tell you how many times in my 26-year career, I'd walk into a business and they go, "You don't even remember me, do you? You've changed a lot, haven't you?" And it's like, who are you? Dude, we were out going out. You were training me, and then we were going to lunch, and we'd come back, man, and we would get absolutely nothing done, man. And it's
they're
funny,
reflecting. They're reflecting
all the stories.
It was a wild, wild west back then, man.
It was a wild west. Yeah, I mean, shoot, I'd be training guys, and then I had a connection from one of the detailers at the dealership to kind of round up a couple cars. So I was making $10 an hour to train guys, right out of high school. And that $10 an hour, then he would round up 5 or 6 cars a week for me at $40 a car. And I'd do those while I'm training guys. So I was making, my $10 an hour plus $40 a car. And then by the time training was over, I was doing 10, 15, 20 cars a week and training guys. So I was just killing it. I was 18 years old, just living the dream, man,
That's funny. That's a good story, man.
That is a good story.
I didn't know that about you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So now you are Dent Solutions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm known as the dentologist.
Dentologist, and
Yes.
you got a massive truck that you drive around. I mean, this thing's huge, man. So tell us a little bit about that. Why you drive a big truck that sucks a lot of gas? I have a big truck, but your truck is pretty pronounced. Give us a little insight about that truck.
See and be seen. That's the main thing that I always took into mind when I said, what do I want for my everyday vehicle? What do I want for my dent rig? I want something that will stand out as I'm driving down the other side of the highway. There's no way people could be on their phone and still want to look up because they see this huge rig driving down the road. So that's kind of what I had in mind from about 06 on. This is my second F-250 Ford diesel. And, I've kind of on each one of them, the beginning of each one of their lives, gone into hawk with the baddest rims, the nicest tires, the biggest lift kit, getting it lettered up, but it's definitely helped me to gather much more of a presence, anywhere I go, where everyone knows the big guy in the big truck.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
we were saying
there's a lot to be said with that.
We were saying off air, like, you know, there was a movie I was watching. I think it was called Phone Booth. I'm not sure exactly, but I was telling you about that. And one of the lines in the movie was, and he was a hustler. He was like, always trying to, you know, be seen and yada, yada. And he's trying to teach this other, you know, kid that's trying to learn what he's doing. And he says, look, man, you can't be mentioned if you're not seen. So, and that's exactly like how I would think about how I would portray a company, you know? So I think that's a little good medicine out there, especially what you're doing. You're following exactly what I think people should do is just make an icon. They might not need you now. And there's another slogan here in our San Diego. There's an attorney. He's a big attorney and he's got it down. This guy markets like I do too, but he's all, well, it's best to know me and not need me than to need me and not know me.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And
you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say something in that same order.
Yeah.
Eventually, everybody needs us.
Yeah, but when a dent does happen, hey, there's Ian. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, that guy at the big truck. Yeah, that's the Dent Solutions guy. Yeah, call him, man. So that's
but then you have to perform. You know, once they call you, now you got to perform. Yeah. Now you got to do what you say you can do.
That's correct. Yep.
And a lot of people don't know that we're actually almost competitors. We're about 45 minutes from each other. He's in Napa. I'm in Santa Rosa. We're just far enough away not to be competitors. Every once in a while, we'll get a cross customer, but not very often. But we're really close to each other, so we're holding down the fort up here in Northern California.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Beautiful. The beautiful Santa Rosa, Sonoma, Napa Valley.
Yeah, wine country.
Yep,
that's a beautiful place up there too, man. My wife we were going to come up there this summer, but I just don't have time, man. So
Christine from Anson is here, Half Moon Bay, and I guess she's supposed to be in Sonoma today. Isn't that what we were talking about earlier, Daniel?
Yeah, I actually I
hooked her up.
I hooked her up today.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I sent her and her husband to a very, very special place today. Something I have an exclusive on, something I can't actually, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's very cool. If anybody knows me.
You're not a Jetta
yet. Yes.
Oh, I'll be getting that information from you when the show's over. Yeah.
And so I gave them the hookup and they sent me some pictures and thanked me today. So they're having a great time. They're in St. Louis today. So they're having fun, having a romantic weekend.
Yeah.
It's my area, St. Helena. Yep.
Well, great. That's a great story, Ian. So we're going to move on to the next subject. And you were invited to what is it, a show up in Colorado with Jeremy Taylor. It's on a Velocity Channel thing. So kind of give us some insight what that was about. Who came to the event and how it went.
Sure. So yeah, I was Jeremy Taylor had reached out the Friday before the week that I went out, or that he needed me, and he had called me and just kind of briefly explained to me that Lifted Life on Velocity Channel is going into their 4th season. He had then told me that the show that he has been involved with, Lifted Life, he has a chance to kind of headline PDR as the subject for the next few segments of the show. So he had told me that, there were some sponsors that were showing up. He had told me Anson, PDR, Stuckey Tools, Carl Stuckey was going to be there, John Renstrom, Jeremy Langston from Dent Technology, Chris Accurdy from Batvac was going to be there. And, he was just telling me about this all-star cast, that was going to be there. And he had offered to me, he said, if you can get a plane ticket out here and be here by Tuesday morning, I'd like you here on Monday, but Tuesday morning will work. We are going to film 7 episodes within this 4-day period. So it's going to be cram-packed, and we have to get these vehicles done. And the hail is severe. So he told me there's an F-350, which is kind of their their showcase truck for 5R trucks and a black Denali 2017 truck there. One steel being the GMC steel, and then the Ford was aluminum. So we kind of had both types of metal to work on, different damage on both vehicles, but to come out on Tuesday. So yeah, any opportunity is a good opportunity. That's how I kind of see it. And the fact that, he had said that his main focus was on guys that were kind of, had been doing paintless dent repair for a long time, knew their job, and had a tool, that they manufactured, or a company, that they represented, was kind of icing on the cake. So, he knew that I had, the Mobile Tech Shade, my patented tool that I sell and everything. And that's why he said he invited me. So.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did you get some film time?
Yeah, did get a little bit of film time. Little snippets where we would ask for the, we'd be working on the truck, and he'd walk in. Jeremy would walk in and say, how's everything going? Hey, it's going great. But man, I think we need some more tools. Can you go ahead and give Anson a call and see where that truck is? Things like that, or pulling tools off the Anson truck. And then, like Christine, she probably has about a 3-minute or 4-minute commercial that they actually shot. Same with Carl Stuckey. And I think they were the biggest distributors or contributors to the cause as far as monetarily, but that's not, I wasn't disclosed that.
And Mobile Tech RX was out there, right?
John Renstrom too. Sorry, I can't forget about John. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
No, John was there too. He got his time too on the camera. Yeah, he's a good dude.
You were telling me a story earlier that we talked about. Is you were kind of impressed with him and Stuckey. Tell us a little bit about them working on that rail.
Anytime you get to work next to guys like that, especially Carl Stuckey and John Renstrom in particular, these guys really set the bar when we were there. I've been in situations like this where you're kind of sharing work on a vehicle, not necessarily hail, but sharing work, on 1 or 2 vehicles or whatever. And it's always that one guy that kind of over exceeds your expectations, walks up and goes, I'll do this, where you're like, God, thank you. I'm so glad it wasn't me that had to do that, And both of those guys, before I could even speak up, they were on it. John, he immediately wants to tackle the roof. And it was like that roof on that Denali was horrible. Big stretched knots. A couple of them look like grapefruit size, the metal that it brought in between these rails on this roof. And as far as John Renstrom goes, what impressed me the most, other than him being just a great guy to talk to and conversate with and be with for those couple of days, is when he was tackling that roof, I'm going, I'm watching him and I'm kind of like, it's coming up, but I might have not brought it up as choppy as that, or forgive me, John, when you watch this, but and I'm watching it and I'm like, it's either going to be too high or it's going to be too low. I've done dents for a long time, man. It's like, I just know what to expect. So I'm watching him and the dent's about gone, and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of looking down the side of it and I'm like, yeah, it's still a little high. I'm thinking, it's still a little high. And all of a sudden he whips out the masking tape and he starts taping the rails on this, and he puts about 2 pieces down each rail, in between the section where he had just worked on that had a high dent or a high, raise from the big stretched dent on a black truck. He then takes a dolly, close the door, and a 1-pound sledge and just starts ramming the inside of these rails. And I'm like, what the heck is this guy doing? And before you know it, he just pulls the tape off, like this. He pulls each side of the tape off, and I'm looking, and it's flawless. It's just completely flat. He stretched that metal out in between the rail, and it was just like an aha moment watching this, watching these guys work, because they do this day in, day out. Carl Stuckey, same thing, goes right to the most murdered 2 golf ball sized dent on the corner edge of the cab corner on the back side of the passenger side corner there. And they were less than a 16th of an inch apart. One was on the back side and one was on the top side. And they were just knots. And he walks over and he just, gets his little tool cart and he walks over like it's nothing and just starts pulling them and using small tabs to pull them. First thing I think about is, grab a big, green tab, and just start powering that thing out. And he just finessed it out. And before you knew it, 3.5, 4 hours later on those 2 specific dents on the rail, he had them perfect. I mean, they were flawless. So it was exciting to work next to these guys and watch them and stuff.
Us door dingers don't get that, we're door dingers. So we don't get to, commune with other dent guys.
No.
And the hail guys have a big advantage, I think. Right, Mike?
They do. They have a huge. And first of all, I heard Carl Stuckey's, and I've seen his work too before, but I heard he's just a great tech. But I think we say this a lot, and Ian, because you're more of a route tech like we are, and all around tech, shall I say? Dude, it's 2 different games, man. It's 2 different animals. Yep. I mean, it could a full-time hail tech, do they really want to do big nasty dents, creases that go different ways, and body lines and all this stuff? Do we want to do pelted, stretched, big shot, Oklahoma, Colorado, Texas dents? No.
Right.
So.
Wade Hartley had said something to me about the second night we were working on this black GMC, and I got to give it up to Wade too.
No,
Wade took on one of the worst fenders on either of the vehicles. I did, one of the fenders on the Ford, a couple top shots on the aluminum, and then I did the driver's side fender on the GMC. And I was hoping that somebody was going to walk around and start doing the passenger side fender, and Wade tackles it. And believe me, it had probably 20 to 25 huge shots, 6 or 7 on the top. And he's working on this, and he looks over at me and he goes, it's probably easier for a door dinger or a route guy that does dent repair every day and does the big stuff and everything else to be introduced into hail and to actually be successful with it, more so than a hail guy to go and try to cross the line and be a door dinger, and be a route guy.
Yeah.
And he made great sense, because I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So do you know when that's going to be airing on Velocity Channel so we can all look for it?
Yeah, I'm hearing in September is what I've been hearing, kind of conversating with Jeremy and seeing some of his posts on Facebook and stuff like that he's talking about September. So okay. I think that the website Lifted Life is going to start showing some different YouTube stuff, what I was hearing from him in the next couple of weeks, maybe as soon as 2 weeks from now. Okay. But don't quote me on that.
All right, we'll look for that. So moving on, let's start talking about what tool you have and what you sell. The Mobile Tech. What do you call it?
Mobile Tech Shade.
The Mobile Tech Shade MTS.
Yeah. Okay. Mobile Tech Shade. So tell us a little bit how that came about and a little bit more about that.
Well, as you can tell, I use my Mobile Tech Shade every day, and you see how red I am just from today, and that was using it all day. So, just walking out to grab a tool and then getting back underneath it, I get burned. So there was quite a call for trying to protect myself from the elements. I remember when I worked for Dent Pro, they sent me to like 1 day of training because I'd already been doing dent repair, but they wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing. So they sent me to this car lot out in Hayward, and they had a makeshift little umbrella that sat down. And I'm watching one of the guys work on it. And after the first day, I had blisters on my face and on my nose working on these car lots. And I watched this guy with the umbrella and everything. And I was like, man, that's a great idea for these mobile guys, or especially for me. I got to have something like this because, suntan lotion only does so much when you're sweating it off every day. So over the period of the next, 10 years, I had several different models that I'd come up with, which were just rinky dink, making it fit to the end of a suction cup with duct tape or what have you, whatever I could kind of manage to make fit and cover me. And then I got hooked up with the guy that manufactures all of them now, Kevin, who is a gunsmith and a metallurgist. He also owns a body shop in the Vallejo area, which I service. And we just got to talking. I showed him some of my designs over, just sitting there chatting, having a beer one day after work. And he goes, I can make you something. I can make you something. So he came out with the first model, and it was all right. And then I told him what was wrong with it. And I mean, within a week, he had what you guys see today. And I told him I want it to extend. I want it to where I don't have to tighten and loosen it every time. I want it to where, I can move the umbrella, up and down on it and do this and that. And I mean, he just nailed it. And the fact that he uses the metals like he does, because he knows them so well, it makes for, like, so many techs own it and they see exactly what I saw in this thing after using it and kind of testing it on the market or tested it myself before I brought it to market for a good year, before I had introduced it to Mike and, some other people.
You know where I first saw your mobile tech shade?
Where's that?
Perry brought it.
Oh, Perry. Yeah.
Perry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's the windshield repair guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he comes in and I scheduled him for windshield repair. And all of a sudden he brings out this big old umbrella. And I'm like, where'd you get that? Over in Napa. And I'm like,
Perry was one of my first customers, man. Right when I had first, because he had seen me with it, he goes, so when are you going to have them? I mean, he asked me for like a year. So when can I buy one? When can I buy one? And yeah, he was one of my first customers. He's probably the third or fourth customer that had one.
Yeah, I did a video on that. How many years ago was that? When did you come out with that?
That was 3
or 4 years ago.
Almost 4 years ago. Yeah, yeah. But since then, I've got the patent on it. So I couldn't have done that without my wife Amy. I gotta give my wife Amy props. Without her, I wouldn't be half the man that I am. Much less Mobile Tech Shade would still be in its infancy, an idea, because she has put everything into order on the time that I'm out trying to push dents to try to support my family. She's behind the scenes on the computer, shipping every single one, dealing with the patent, attorneys, and I couldn't have done it without her.
Right on.
Yep.
Really good props to the wives.
Got to do it.
And make us successful. So the current model, how much does it sell for?
The current model, the black, so I have a couple different options, and soon I'll be coming out with some more. So the current model sells for $229, and that is a black stand that it's not powder coated, but it is a durable etched primered black stand. So that is a extendable with the clips, suction cup, base, everything you need to use, to have shade for yourself and the umbrella of your choice. And all my umbrellas are 68-inch UV top silver, and then you can choose your color on the underside. So I've got neon green, neon yellow, really cool looking blue, and then black. And of course, black being the most sun deterrent.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Since you were out there with Chris from Batvac, is there any collusion going to be coming out with Batvac? Because I could see that being a huge advantage.
The biggest thing yes, to answer your question, yes, we have been in talks. We talk weekly about it and kind of bouncing things off one another. I got to give Chris props to you. What a great guy. He is just such a great guy, man. I mean, when kind of makes you feel like you're with one of your high school buddies every time you're around him.
Yeah.
But he is a stand-up guy. But no, Chris and I have definitely been talking about it. We're kind of in the phase now. We've gone through trying to adhere it to the bases that he has come up with, the boxes that he's come up with. And without saying too much, we are figuring out a different setup. And mainly the reason is for several different reasons. And it kind of struck some more questions for him with this Mobile Tech Shade trying to adhere it to the top of one of his Batvacs, is having a much stronger box, having a almost, an all aluminum box. So we've been talking about that. He's got that being made right now because, as you guys have heard, and as Mike knows with the Mobile Tech Shade, its whole design is patented around a set it and forget it, meaning you get it to that tension, and then you don't have to adjust it. You can just move it and it stays. Yeah. So with that, unlike other models that are out there where you have to move it and you have to put it. Well, that tension that's on the top of the box where you mount it is where we were having some questions, maybe a couple different concerns that popped up where we're like, the Mobile Tech Shade really is a strong tool that asks for a lot of pivot strength. So we've been talking about that and working it out, but that's the thing. Both of us are kind of the same way. We don't want to come out with something, especially him, that isn't, it might fail, in the future. So he is he's a stand-up guy. He's definitely is concerned with that. So am I.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, where what's your website, Ian?
My website is thedentologist.com or dentsolutionpdr.com. I have 2 URLs.
That's where they can buy the umbrella as well?
No, that's my dent company website. I'm sorry.
Right,
you have to be specific on which website you want. I got a couple different ones.
I was trying to plug your umbrella.
I'm sorry.
I'm not buying an umbrella, man.
Let's back it up. Let's back it up.
PDR techs, I think we know a good dent guy in our area. So.
Yeah, right. So mobiletechshade.com is where you can go online. And I've got a new website coming up. I wanted to kind of take 2 minutes and explain too on some of the different options that are soon going to be available to people. So I've had a lot of call for boaters, glass repair guys, guys that are using them in much higher wind situations. And even though I offer a paracord tie down system that it's the paracord tie down system is a fail-safe if you ever have any concerns about wind catching it or carrying it off or anything, if you just want to have it steady. But I have been testing some new suction cups for the last year and 9 months. And these suction cups are absolutely incredible. So I'm going to give people options on my new website that's about to drop in about 2 to 3 weeks. And it'll be based around glass guys, wheel repair guys, paintless dent repair guys. So it'll have different sections on there, and you'll be able to make your own Mobile Tech Shade with whichever type of suction cup you want, whether it's woods, whether it's and I'm not going to mention the name yet because it's going to be a surprise when the website comes out. But cool. I have 2 different types of cups, one being a 4.5 inch cup made with a new type of material. And then, so here's an example. Woods is 90 pound rating. The new 4.5 inch cup I have will be 150 pound rating.
Holy crap.
The 6 inch cup is 210 pound rating. It'll pull the car up. It'll pull the car up off the ground. So people will be able to design their own Mobile Tech Shade, which whichever suction cup they want, and have them shipped to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's one area I think we've always been using woods, and woods is designed for glass. It's not designed to be on cars. And I was like, man, somebody needs to design a better suction cup for PDR to go to the contours of a car and stick better. And also, that their small suction cup is too small. They're big. The next size up is too big. Right. We need something right in the middle.
Right. I think one of the biggest things too that I've learned dealing with suction cups, so many of them every week, either shipping them for Mobile Tech Shade or using them myself, is the woods has a quick piston suction. So meaning 4 or 5 pumps, it's pumped down. A suction cup that really, you start getting into the 150, 200 pound suction rating, those actually, you have almost 10 to 12 pumps to pump them down because they seat so far down onto the panel. So I think the combination of getting a good cup that adheres to paint surfaces or glass surfaces that has less times that you have to, rotate the piston in and out. That's the whole catch, is how much time does it take for you to get it to adhere to the car?
Yeah, but you take a suction cup like that and pair it with the bat vac, then you got like the perfect marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we're working on that.
Well, congratulations.
That's what's great about our industry is constantly grows like this. Guys like you are innovating things and making it better and making our lives better.
Ian, we need to bring you back too, because you know what? You are a very interactive guy, man. I mean, you have been just. We don't have to lead you into anything, man. You just go with the flow, man. So
thank you. I appreciate you guys bringing me on the show, and anytime I get the chance to talk with the infamous Daniel Grom and Mike Toledo, is a good time. I'm always game.
We're nothing.
A tech tip time. Tech tip time.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Moving on to the tech tips.
Tech tips. You know this. In case anybody's wondering how we edit this video this podcast is that generally now when we are done with it, it's either John Hiley will edit. If he's opening it up, or if you don't hear me, he's probably editing. But when I edit it, I'll just prefab everything and blend it in after I'm done. So people are like, how's he do all the timings and stuff? Sometimes I had an iPad and I'd put it in, but that didn't kind of work very well. So anyways, that's just a little behind the scenes. People are like, yeah, whatever, Mike, we don't care. All right. So tech tip.
Before we go on to tech tips.
Yeah.
Let's do a little plug for your event coming up.
Oh, well, I just want to let you guys know it's sold out. So
awesome.
It's done. So within 2 weeks we sold it out. So awesome. We are gonna have probably.
We don't need to plug it.
We don't need to plug it, but hey, you know
what? Everybody else.
I would get on the waiting list though, dude, because we are gonna probably have follow-ups sometime. We'll announce that later on, but we don't want to put the cart before the horse here. So
right.
What I was going to mention is, I do want to mention though the video that's coming out for the what is PDR 2.0, and I showed Ian just a small clip of what I'm doing, and I showed Daniel. So you guys,
next level.
What do you guys?
Next level stuff. Yeah.
So
it's next level
sure. I think that people who are attending and get it, they're going to be just absolutely ecstatic about how it's going to turn out. So.
What people don't understand is, like Mike, you know, he calls me and he says, "Oh, I got a new camera. I go, "Oh, that's nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. Should I get that?" Well, I don't know if you want to get that. That's a lot of money. And then I look it up, I Google it, and I'm like, "Holy crap." Goes, "Oh, by the way, I bought 2 of them."
Oh my gosh. Well, then he's got enough for you. He's got enough for one for you.
He's like, "Oh, I had to have the certain lens on this one and a certain lens on this one."
I know.
And by the way, that's not including the lens.
Yeah.
And then you look at the price of the lens and you're going,
yeah.
And so Mike is spending a ton of money to make these videos, just super insane, super good.
I've been following all my kids, my family around, and just trying to get to know the camera and shooting different videos and things like that. Just all that has just been practice, getting to know that camera, so I can shoot the real deal in October. So
that's way cool, man. Way cool what you showed me earlier. Way cool.
Thanks, Ian.
Hey, stop sucking eggs. It's time for PDR Tech Tips.
Move on to some tech tips now. I guess I got one. And
let's hear it.
This is kind of a pet peeve with me.
Talk a little closer.
I don't know if it's a tech tip or what. So have you guys noticed Subarus? When I pull a car in my shop, I pull it in, and a lot of times I'll leave the keys in the car. Well, on a Subaru, if you leave the keys in the car, it leaves the headlights on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no other car does that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on Subarus. And it takes 15 minutes of leaving that key in the ignition with the headlights on for the car to drain.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's a flaw in Subarus. That battery will drain so fast, and you'll go, "Oh, the lights are on, no big deal." And then you come back, you do a little door dinger, you're done in 10 minutes, and then you get in the car and you try to start it up and it doesn't start. You're like, holy crap. And if you're a lot guy, you're in trouble unless you carry a jumper with you. But it happened to me over and over. Finally, now when I get into a Subaru, I'm like conditioned myself to take the key out of the ignition. So there's my little tech tip. It's not a great tech tip.
No, that's good because
No, that's a great tech tip.
Yeah, I have Subarus in my car, in my shop constantly, but I don't leave the keys in the car. However, just a real quick story though, my tech was actually moved a car, a Nissan. I don't know what happened, but he lost the key from the outside storefront to the inside of the shop, and it's cost him $325 for that key fob. So
they are not cheap.
No, man. And I'm
No.
like, man, are you crazy? Yeah, that thing's crazy. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. I have no idea where it went. So, but, yeah. Ian?
Well, I think that's a great tech tip. Anytime you don't have to go run for a battery jumper or jump a stinking battery on a car lot or something, man, is a key tip. Something that's popping up in my head, and for the longest time, I work on a lot of Mercedes Benzes, and something that pops up in my head is the infamous rear quarter panels on the either the E350s or the C-Class cars. And I know both of you probably know what I'm talking about. There's, for the longest time, I was like, I turned them down. I was like, I'm sorry, I just can't do them. Until one day, a sales manager actually came to me and goes, no, those can be done. I know they can be done. I've seen guys do them before. And I was like, well, how do they do them? So he walks over to my truck. He goes and grabs one of my whale tails, and he goes, you just slide this right up in between the brace after you melt the glue in the panel. And I was like, melt the glue in the panel? He goes, yeah, you use your torch and you heat it up and you push it right through there. So I'm thinking to myself, how in the heck does he know this? So I didn't let on that I was even going to try it. So I went and I brought the car to the back of the lot that had one of them, or actually had the car that he had told me I could do the dent on. And it was just, right on this E350 quarter panel, just smacked right on the body line. I think it comes up that high from the edge of the wheel well lip.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my torch and heated that sucker up. And you could feel it with your finger, just a little teeny edge where the seam edge glue starts. And I pushed that sucker through there, and lo and behold, I was able to get right to those little teeny dings that are on that edge of those E350s and the C-Classes. And ever since then, man, I've been able just to bust those out in no time.
Hold on.
No time at all.
Where did you go? Where did you get the access to go from the whale tail to that edge?
Well, here's the thing: is if you take your tool, okay, here's your wheel well. Here's the outer skin, and here's the inner.
Yeah.
If you feel just a little bit past the edge of the wheel well, you'll feel the seam right where it starts, where the secondary panel starts.
Okay.
On the inside edge.
Uh-huh.
And it's not wrapped around. It's not wrapped around like this, like most cars. It stops like this. So what you'll do is, because you got the tire right here.
Yeah.
Here's your wheel well.
Uh-huh.
As you take your tool now that's hot, and you got to be careful not to grab it. I've done that before and burned the snot out of my fingers before. But you get it and you just start it, and then you just push it right through between those panels right there. And I mean, it's smoking white smoke, and fire alarms are going off. But
you're talking rear quarter panel.
The rear quarter panels, yeah.
That's a great tech tip, Ian.
You'll push right through them, and you just use the edge of the whale tail. And when you're done, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of silicone and just push it back up into the little spot, but you don't destroy it, and it's done.
Yeah, that's a good tech tip, man. Congratulations, that's a good one, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now I know too. I got my tech tip. Someone behind.
Okay.
I got a tech tip. We do a lot of bumper repairs, plastic bumper repairs. I think the easiest, the tool tip that you could use to put on your adjustable soft tip to get underneath that and push it out smoothly is use a steel ball. Okay. And the reason why you want to use a steel ball is because you can slide it, you can push it. And what that steel ball does is really help manipulate that plastic shape back in. Okay, it really contours the curves well, and it's been working out really well for me. And you don't have to worry about if you're heating it up really bad, or the plastic tip, if you're using a plastic tip or a rubber tip or anything like that, melting against the plastic. So use a metal ball. I think you guys will really like it. And then also, use a metal ball or a rubber ball. You kind of use a rubber ball to push down on the ridges on the outside of the plastic bumper, so I can get that shape. And then use a cold rag, make sure it's really cold, and then put it on the bumper once you have the shape you want, so it'll set. So that's
as you're holding it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's my tech tip.
That's a great one. Now, question: how big of a
Steel ball.
Steel ball do you usually use?
How big would you say? That's like definitely. How big would you say, Daniel? Like, it's like I don't know. Like, how big would that be? Like maybe 2 inches?
About 3/4 of an inch, I think.
Okay.
It could be 3/4 or an inch.
The one John gave us, right?
Yeah.
John has on his website.
Yeah, about that big. So about the size of a quarter.
Oh, the one
quarter.
that he has on his tactical hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that gold one or the chrome looking one.
Yeah, the chrome one.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I got one of those.
It works fabulous. So I think you guys will, and it doesn't leave poke marks. That's what's great about it. You're not going to poke the crap out of the plastic. So that's what's great about it.
Now you're gonna be out at Mobile Tech Expo again with the booth and all that. Yep. So
I'll be with Sal Contreras again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And so if you guys are looking to pick one up at his website or see him at Mobile Tech Expo, and I think that'll call it a wrap. What do you think, Mike?
Yep. Ian, once again, thanks a lot, man. You're a pleasure.
Thanks.
Great
Thanks for
guest,
having
man.
me.
Great guest, man. It was great. This was a great episode. So hey, listen, we'll catch you out in the real world, and I'll catch you online, Facebook, all that good stuff. And hey guys, don't forget to tune in. Check out Ian on mobiletechshade.com. Am I getting that right? Cool. All right.
That's right.
All right.
And don't forget, guys, to level up your tools.
All right. And don't do anything I won't do twice.